Snow looks beautiful in person, but our camera sometimes doesn't capture it the way we remember it. Well, in this practical edit, what I'll do is I'll walk you through 5 simple tips to help you capture beautiful, bright, and full of detail snow photos. Well, let's review what we're going to learn. So here are the 5 tips. First, we're going to start with reliable camera settings. Then we'll move on to how to set the white balance in Luminar Neo, remove color cast, and a little more warmth and refine the shadows. And then last, we're going to rebuild that natural contrast. So those are going to be the 5 tips we'll walk through. So let's first start with the camera settings. Now keep in mind, all of us have different cameras. It's going to be a different location, a different time of day. So I'm going to teach you a theory and concept that you could apply when you're out there shooting. We need to start somewhere. Now, personally, I like to choose my shutter speed first. And shutter, I'll choose that for purpose. What's the purpose of it? Do I want to capture a bird in flight? So I need a higher shutter speed to freeze the action? Or do I want a beautiful waterfall, that finger-like effects? So I'm going to slow or drag the shutter speed. So that's purpose. My aperture, I'm going to choose for feeling. What's the feeling I want from this scene? Is it a landscape where maybe f11 will be beautiful, where from the foreground all the way to the background is beautiful, in focus, and the detail is just incredible? Or do I want to photograph a portrait where I want that beautiful bokeh in the background? So maybe 2.8. That's aperture for feeling. And then finally, ISO, and we'll use that to control the light. We need more light, increase the ISO. We don't need as much light, lower the ISO. So those are the 3 ways where I'm gonna start, the 3 areas. Well, how do we do that without being too technical when we're out shooting? Our cameras nowadays have incredible features. Why not take advantage of it? Put something in auto mode. I like auto ISO. I'll set my aperture. I'll set my shutter first, then my aperture, and then my ISO. For snow photos, I know I'm going to need a very high shutter speed because that snow is going to trick the camera. So my camera is set, let's say, in matrix metering. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to photograph, and if the camera isn't doing what I want it to do, that's where I'll use exposure compensation, the EV. It's too bright, too dark, I'll adjust it a plus or a minus. So now I'm not thinking technical. I'm thinking creative. We're out there shooting, the time of day starts to change, the camera is going to follow the pattern, and every so often we'll look at it to make sure everything is on track. So that's one way to make sure that all the settings are set in the camera the way we want it. Well, we could do the best that we can, but sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we come back, and here's the original. And it comes out dull, that bluish tint. We do what we can, but that's what we want, and that's what we remember. So let me walk you through this. I'm going to create another virtual copy, just so we don't lose the changes I made earlier. And I'm going to revert to the original. Here's the original image, minus the cropping. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I do want to come into develop mode. Now, if this were a raw file, I would have develop raw, and it gives me a lot more options. But here I have a JPEG. So as shot for the white balance, well, I don't have any options here. So instead, I'm going to click the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to hunt around for a neutral gray. So neutral gray, look at this, 198, 203, 209. That's pretty close. Look at this. Right about there. When I click on it, look how it set the white balance for me. Now, if I were to click, let's say, on the owl or on the green, let's click on the green. Watch the results. Now, that's not a neutral gray. Look at the blue. Look at the tone, the tint that came in. So, let's see. Undo it. So let's try it again. And I know that up in this area here gave me what I was looking for. And there it is. So use that eyedropper tool. And then we could tweak it even further. So that was the first part where we set that white balance. Now we have our white balance set. And I like where we're at. Well, now I want to come down to the color. And I want to check to see if there's any color left over. And in fact, let's use the histogram. And I'm going to set the histogram to alert me if I'm blowing out the whites or I'm making the blacks too black. So I'll give you an example. I do this, look at this. It's showing me that I'm blowing out those whites in those areas. So I'm going to remove the color cast. That little bit here isn't going to bother me. Maybe dial back the saturation just a little bit, but then increase the vibrancy. And look, I'm getting rid of that blown out effect. See if it makes a difference. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. So now I'm getting that beautiful white snow that we're looking for. So now that I have that set, let's come down here to color harmony. And I do want to adjust some of the shadows in here. So that split warmth, watch this. Ooh, look at that. Look how we can bring out some of that warmth right about here. That looks good. And let's see if there's any cooling effect. Yeah, I like it right about there. All right, let's see if it makes a difference. Very subtle, but it's there. If you notice right in the owl itself, just that little bit. And last, let's bring back some contrast. So I'm going to adjust the highlights, midtones, and the shadows. And again, if I go overboard, look at this, we're going to start blowing things out. That's not what we want. So I want to balance it. And then let's increase the midtones. We're going to find that into the bird and the feathers. Here we go, look at this. And then last, the shadows. Look at that, see? If I go overboard, all that blue you're seeing means that it's pure black, and that's not what we want. But we do want to increase them. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, look at that. Look how it brought back that detail and the contrast into the owl itself. All right, so there we have it. By making sure that we start out first with the proper camera settings. And again, it could be what fits your style. Once we have all that set, go out there, be creative, and don't think technical. Because once we start chimping and thinking technical, looking at that camera, shooting, looking at it, and getting frustrated, you miss the beauty that's in front of us. All right? Well, try it out and let me see some of your snow photos, and let me know how this helps you, or if you have other tips, leave them in the comments below.